Hello, and it's good to have you join us again on Maritime Radar. Nigeria's bunkering sector involves the supply of fuel to ships and is a significant player in the global market, particularly in West Africa. Nigeria's added advantage of extensive coastline major ports play a pivotal role in this supply chain and is a significant player in the domestic and global bunker fuel market, which major bunkering operations revolve around Lagos, Port Harcourt and Bonny Camp, each of which contributes substantially to Nigeria's bunkering activity. Lagos, in particular, is a bustling hub for bunker fuel trading, given its strategic location as a major port in Nigeria. How to implement and enforce International Maritime Organization's regulations within Nigeria, address possible encroachment, curb illegal bunkering to ensure Nigeria becomes a regional bunkering hub, and tap into the global industry estimated to hit $210 billion by 2027 are some of the issues that will be on the front burner on today's show. I am Norma Obiaswala. The demand for bunker fuel in Nigeria is primarily driven by the shipping industry, encompassing both domestic and international vessels. Nigeria's oil and gas sector also plays a significant role in her bunker fuel consumption, given the presence of oil rigs and support vessels in the region. The importance of Nigeria's oil and gas industry in the global energy supply chain further boosts bunker fuel trading. As a major exporter of crude oil, Nigeria's ports are frequently visited by tankers that require bunkering services. Before we get further into today's lineup on the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
As Nigeria and several other countries around the world marked the annual May Day celebrations, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Adegboyega Oyetola, has lauded the resilience, dedication and invaluable contributions of workers within the marine and blue economy sector to the growth and sustainability of Nigeria's economy. Oyetola further described the maritime industry as a cornerstone of Nigeria's economic architecture and emphasized that the sector remains vital to the realization of renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. The minister took the opportunity to reaffirm the ministry's commitment to fostering policies that protect the rights and welfare of maritime workers while also prioritizing investments in infrastructure, technology and training that would enhance productivity and working conditions in the sector. The minister also used the occasion to call for continued collaboration between government agencies, labor unions, and private stakeholders to ensure that the maritime workforce remains competitive, well-motivated, and future-ready. Troops of the Nigerian Navy have rescued 99 passengers from drowning following a boat accident on the Bukuma River in Degama local government area of Rivers State. Now, the commander of the Nigerian Navy ship Pathfinder Port Harcourt, Commodore Kajetan Anyoku, in a statement said that a wooden boat named Blood of Jesus was conveying passengers and goods from Port Harcourt to Akukutoru local government area when it collided with a barge named Daman Buba, resulting in significant structural damage to the vessel. Anyoku disclosed despite challenging conditions, troops successfully rescued all 99 passengers from the river. There were no fatalities or injuries recorded during the rescue. Denmark has announced plans to allocate nearly $1 billion to ensure its merchant fleet against the risks of war or major geopolitical crises. The government unveiled the proposal this week, describing it as a proactive measure to safeguard maritime interests should commercial insurance markets fail. The initiative would activate the War Insurance Institute, a public entity, and grant it access to a 6 billion krone loan facility to cover claims. A statement from Business Minister Morten Bødskov noted that with global tensions and war on European soil, it was important for the country to prepare for the worst.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Reader. The regulatory environment is a crucial aspect of the bunker fuel trading business in Nigeria, as the industry operates under the guidance of various governmental bodies, and understanding the regulatory framework is essential for market participants. Looking at the multiple agencies in the bunkering sector, which should play a vital role in ensuring the compliance of industry participants with safety, environmental and quality standards, and regulate pricing and tariffs. Our guest, Dr. Francis Odukuye, former Deputy Director, Shipping Promotion, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, helps us understand what is bunkering, how to curb illegal bunkering activities, the legality of the guidelines issued by the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency as relates to bunkering in Nigeria, and the international conventions that guide its operations, plus the place of the indigenous shipping operators in all of this. This and many more after this short break. Please stay with us. Okay, it's good to have you join us on the show, sir.
Thank you, Nama.
So let's start this conversation having understanding of what the subject matter of our discussion today, which is bunkering, and how is it operated in Nigeria, and which laws guides its operations?
Thank you for the question. First, I want to thank you for bringing me onto this show. But yes, let us understand the word bunkering first, before we begin to talk about the laws guiding the operations of bunkering in Nigeria. So bunkering is a process of refueling ships, vessels, okay? And, excuse me, the laws guiding bunkering is basically MAPOL Annex 6 and MAPOL Annex 1. Then you have other conventions like SOLAS, III codes, and ISM that guides the operations of bunkering in Nigeria.
Okay, so, IMO plays a crucial role in Nigeria's bunkering industry by setting global standards for safety, security, and environmental protection, ensuring compliance with international regulations. Who is responsible, in your view, for implementing and enforcing these IMO regulations in Nigeria?
Very interesting. Okay, so let us understand the perspective of this business. Shipping is a global business. And so the global body that regulates shipping business is IMO. And they have come up with lots of conventions guiding the operations of shipping globally. So countries that belong to IMO would have to sign off on most of these conventions. And the agency in Nigeria that is responsible for all of these IMO conventions is NIMASA. So for me, in my own little parlance, I said NIMASA is a global agency because they are locally based in Nigeria, but they are implementing a global convention. So for me, I particularly say NIMASA is a global agency.
Okay, how has NIMASA fared in this role if they are the ones that should implement and enforce these IMO regulations?
That's a very tough question for me to answer by now. I think so far they are coming up with a lot of regulations and guidelines to implement most of these conventions, particularly the bunkering operations in Nigeria.
So you would say they've done well?
Well, there's no hard and fast rule to doing well. They are still in the process of making sure that things are done properly.
So what are the things they are supposed to do to ensure things are done properly?
Again, IMO has set the global standards for bunkering operations. Okay? Nigeria has, through NIMASA, has acceded to the MAPOL Convention, including the MAPOL Annex 6. So they have done that part. Now, they have also domesticated these conventions locally. And they have gone ahead to develop guidelines for bunkering and the ancillary activities like STS and all of that in Nigeria. So I'm sure they are in the process of making sure things are done properly.
So which then is the role of Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency? What rights did they have in the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021 that has given them the rights to do what they do in the bunkering industry? Then do you see encroachment in all this?
Nema, let me be very honest with you. So most government agencies have overlapping roles and responsibilities in the act setting them up. But in the case of bunkering and NMDPRA, I would just want to answer like this. Does NMDPRA regulate shipping also? No, they don't. Bunkering is, marine fuel bunkering is basically a shipping business, which is regulated by NIMASA. And so I don't see the role of NMDPRA other than giving licenses for oil production. Now, second thing for me is that NIMASA is the body that reports to IMO. And so for every bunkering operation, there is a logbook that are signed off on. So who takes that on? Not an NMDPRA, it's NIMASA. So I don't see their role except they are just trying to do what they are not responsible. So it's not in their jurisdiction anyway.
So you think they are encroaching in NIMASA's role?
If you want to put it that way, I think so.
Okay, so maybe because NIMASA is not taking up their role, so and that role has to be taken by someone.
Yeah, it's okay. There's no vacuum anywhere, but I wouldn't want to say NIMASA is not taking up their roles because
there must be a vacuum for NMDPR to come in.
Is there also a vacuum for Navy issuing licenses for bunkering operations?
Maybe. So that brings me to this question.
Is Navy responsible for commercial shipping also? Not at all.
So what role do you think government should play to address this conflict that's been seen in the bunkering industry?
Most of these government agencies have kind of overlap responsibilities in the act setting up those agencies. So for me, I think one of the things that can happen is maybe they should all come together and see how to harmonize these roles so that at the end of the day, it does not also affect the shipping stakeholders.
Okay, then we have a dedicated ministry now, which is the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy. Okay, so what do you think they should do now? Because we must tap into the potentials in the bunkering industry. We must address the fundamentals, which is this overlapping functions and other challenges. And then do you think NIMASA needs to stand up? We need to wake the sleeping giant NIMASA to take its place and enforce and implement IMO regulations in the bunkering industry.
Okay, so for me, it's a fairly straightforward thing. The Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy is a fairly new ministry, even though some of the maritime activities have been subsumed under the Marine and Blue Economy Ministry. But it would have been nice if the minister comes out with a policy direction and give guidance to the industry so that we would have like a path to follow. For NIMASA, so NIMASA basically, like I said earlier, is a local agency. And so they have acceded to a lot of conventions and also domesticated them. And what next? Enforcement. They should do a lot of enforcement and things will take shape.
So, as someone who just left NIMASA, what are the key things you think NIMASA should be doing to take its place in this industry?
Awareness creation and enforcement.
That's all.
Because they have all the regulations out there, they have all the guidelines to do a lot of things. But if you don't enforce them, the stakeholders will continue to pretend as if they don't know.
Okay, this seeming vacuum, making NMDPRA, Navy, and other agencies to come into play. So what do you think could end this?
But I told you earlier, basically what I said is for the government agencies to come together and harmonize their roles.
Okay,
That way they would have a meaningful impact in the industry.
Okay, we'll be looking at the associated security issues in the bunkering industry, but that will be after this short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radar, and I still have with me Dr. Francis Odukuye. He is the former Deputy Director, Shipping Promotion, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. He's also the CEO, Chua Nigerian Limited. Before we went on that break, I said we are going to look at security issues. So let's look at this, at the associated security issues related to bunkering. Is it crude oil theft or illegal bunkering? Because Nigerians seem to have a word for it.
There is no word like illegal bunkering. Bunkering is a genuine process of refueling vessels, like I said earlier. Crude oil loading is called cargo loading. So if people are stealing crude oil or oil and they say it's illegal bunkering, there's no word like illegal bunkering. They are just thieves. It's crude oil stealing. It's not illegal bunkering. You don't, bunker is a marine fuel. Just like going to the filling station to refuel your car. That's what bunkering is. So there's nothing illegal there. There's no word like illegal bunkering. It's crude oil stealing. Simple. We don't have to beat about the bush.
So what steps do you think government should take now to address this theft Nigeria called illegal bunkering?
That's a very big one. So it's a very tough one because for me, most of these oil terminals, it has a lot to do really with monitoring. Because most of these oil terminals are far, far offshore. And yes, we have Navy, we have Marine Police, and the rest of them. But again, one of the things I've heard, there's no way there's no small man that can go and steal oil, crude oil anyway. Because the investment on vessels and all of that, there are only big people that can do it. So government has to come together and see how to make the monitoring and enforcement more cohesive. Bring all of these agencies together and see how to push them out.
If it's business strictly for the big people, then do you think it will be difficult for government to be able to address this? Then paint for us the bunkering industry, paint forward, what is the ideal thing that you think should be happening in the industry, and what is what we see today? There are two-in-one questions. What government should do? Since you say it's big people, so I don't know how government can be able to address it. Looking at
If government wants to address, there's nothing government cannot address. If they want to address it, they can address it. They know what to do. Okay, but
or what do you expect government to do to address it?
I've told you they should harmonize their resources.
Okay.
Navy is out there, they are monitoring the territorial water. So, and there is a lot of surveillance that's been installed everywhere. They know these people. Let's face it. They know these people. Now, second thing for me, let us look at bunkering. Bunkering, like we have said, is a genuine process of refueling vessels. Now, for you to carry out bunkering, government has to have designated an area for bunkering operations. You don't just go everywhere and begin to bunker marine fuel. There's a designated area. So if you are seen outside that area, I mean, government knows what to do. They should clamp you down. Basically, these things are not difficult things to do, really.
Okay, but back to my question again is, having been in this industry, what is the ideal bunkering industry, and what do we see today in Nigeria? Paint for us, so government could be able to see what the ideal thing and what are the potentials or the value it could bring to Nigerian economy.
So now, to be honest, for now, there's a guideline, okay, for bunkering operations to follow. But if NIMASA is not taking responsibility for the implementation of this guideline, then it will become an all-comers affair. You cannot give what you don't know. So in bunkering vessels, so you are there are three ways you can bunker vessels. Okay? You can bunker from the port, you can bunker from a barge, or you can bunker from doing STS, from vessel to vessel. And there are procedures and processes to carry out all of this. Now, if you don't know all these procedures, there's every likelihood that you are going to begin to pollute the waterway.
Which is the environmental part IMO regulations is trying to guide against.
Yes. Okay. It's all about prevention of pollution. NIMASA should take over their responsibility and follow the processes of bunkering operations.
So, but what do we see in Nigeria?
It's an all-comers affairs. NMDPRA, Navy, all of them are into bunkering operations. There is no standardized approach to bunkering.
So what is the potential of that industry, and what capacity does it have to be able to boost the economy of Nigeria?
I'll be very honest with you. Initially, I was going to avoid this, but I tell you the truth. The bunkering operation has a very great potential. It is looking like several billions of dollars project. Nigeria can actually serve as the hub for Africa, considering our coastal zone and the amount of resources we have here. It's a very big project that can generate a lot of revenue if it is properly harnessed.
So in all of this, what is the place of the indigenous ship owners, and how can Nigeria tap into the global bunkering industry estimated to hit $210 billion by 2027? This is a projection, yes. So, but the place of indigenous ship owners, because since there is no harmonized implementation, so it's all commerce affairs, and they also bring in different guidelines, which at the end of the day falls back to the indigenous ship owners.
So please don't let us get this thing wrongly. It is not about whether the indigenous ship owners are bringing different guidelines. Now, we have said earlier that shipping is global. The international shipping industry, Intertanko, that's the international tanker operators, Intercargo, the international cargo operators, BIMCO, WACO, and the rest of them, they all came together some time ago and proposed how bunkering operations should be. They are in the field. And they did that and submitted to IMO. And based on that, IMO came up, because they have to save life at sea also, which brings in the SOLAS part of it.
Okay.
And the III code is the IMO Instruments Implementation Code, which is a derivative of ISM, International Ship Management. Details out all these procedures for bunkering operations to happen. And so they have developed, IMO has gone ahead to develop a guidance note for bunkering operations to happen. And so for me, there is no two ways about it. If NIMASA goes ahead to take on these responsibilities completely, I'm not sure we'll have all these challenges. Because as it is now, there's no ownership. NMDPRA is coming, this is our baby, NIMASA is there, Navy is there. Who owns it?
So this is what the minister should be. This should be on the table of the minister on how to address who owns the bunkering industry. I must thank you for your time and thoughts on the show. I'm sure Nigerians now know that it is not illegal bunkering. It is stealing.
It is stealing, basically.
Stealing. Thank you very much for your time and your thoughts on the show. I hope that the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy listens to this and knows what to do to tap into the potential of the Nigeria's bunkering industry. It's been Dr. Francis Odukuye. He is the former Deputy Director, Shipping Promotion Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. He is also the CEO, Chua Nigerian Limited. Thank you for your time and your thoughts on the show. I hope that this industry going forward will be harmonized so that we'll be able to tap the potentials. Thank you once again.
Thank you, Nema.
And that's our show this week. Join us every week on Maritime Radar as we explore potentials that will ensure the development of the maritime sector in Africa. You can also expect the latest in global and local maritime news plus industry insights right here. I am Norma Obiaswala. Many thanks for your time and see you again next week.